Hello, beautiful dancers and teachers. I wanted to say a quick hello as we are now midway through our 2 weeks together. I hope you are finding time to dip into the tutorials and to not get too hard on yourself if you're not getting to them. We've got a whole week left. I'm not going to pull them down until the end of your ticker on the website and your emails. So I find if I get overwhelmed especially with these sorts of online events that go on and quite a lot of challenges out there and stuff like that, I actually energetically kind of mess it up for myself. Whereas if I just calm down and create some time in my calendar. So I say, okay, Tuesday, 7 to 8 p.m. Instead of sitting and watching Netflix, I will study. If you're self-employed and you have time freedom during the day, Thursday, 12 to 1 over lunch. Something like that. It tends to help. Instead of having an ongoing sort of mental, emotional environment around it that says, oh my God, I'm 3 tutorials behind, I'm behind. This whole word, I'm behind, I'm running behind is not very helpful. So I just wanted to touch base and say hello. And I do know these sorts of events can cause some angst, and you don't need any more angst. I'm sure you've got, enough going on. So just a little bit of an idea on how to handle it potentially, and also don't forget to book your spots. All of you haven't booked your spots, so a fair few of you have. But these chats with me are very enriching. So you might think, well, what are we going to get done in 45 minutes? We can do a lot in 45 minutes. Sometimes just talking about what's going on inside or outside. And from my experience, the outside is never happening, ever happening, disconnected from the inside. So in the way I coach, there's always an inner component and an outer component. So there's always your inner landscape and then your outer reality. And there's a very simple way of how the inner becomes outer. And I'll take you through it real quickly. So a lot of you may have heard of we create our reality and thoughts become things, and it might be sort of this intangible concept, or you might have worked a little bit with manifesting law of attraction and you still kind of go, well, it's hit or miss. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The fact of the matter is we're actually creating what's going on in our lives all the time, and we never want to hear that. Nobody ever wants to hear they created the shit that they're in, right? I'm sorry, I do tend to swear. So I look like a lady, but I do swear a lot. So I hope that doesn't offend you. So, okay, back to this little video. I'll keep it short and sweet. Where was I? Okay, so here's kind of like a big picture, broad brushstrokes. Thoughts fire off in the head. And the tricky part of that is some are conscious, so we kind of go, we can name it. Oh, I think I'm not good enough. Okay, you've uncovered that one. The tricky part of it, some are, unconscious. Now here's how it works in a really simplified way. Thoughts fire off. We've got a nervous system. We've got a nervous matrix that we laid down very early on in our lives about the meaning of things and when something happens, what that means about self, usually. And also, experiences create expectation. Expectation is thought. Whether you know it's happening or not, the thought fires off. Something happens, it triggers the expectation, and the expectation is, I think so-and-so will happen. So this is like I'm trying to just kind of put a very big subject into a very short video, but I want you to understand why processing what goes on inside with someone else who's holding you in loving attention is so pivotal for growth. Okay, so thoughts fire off, and as I've just said, there's so many different types. There's expectations, there's projections, there's assumptions, there's from past experience. There's conscious, and there's this going on in the conscious, and then there's the stuff going on in the unconscious, which is like creating more of what goes on outside of us other than the ones in the conscious mind, unless we learn to really direct that and manage that. So thought, and here it goes, here it comes, okay? Here it comes. Thoughts precede emotions. This is Psychology 101, and it's sort of Creative Process 101 as well. Thoughts precede emotions. So thought fires off an emotion. Emotion reflects that thought through the body. Eckhart Tolle says an emotion is the reflection of a thought through the body. Okay, so here we are. Here we go. Here we go with it, because it makes it feel real. Makes it feel like reality. Most of the time through the day, we are emoting based on the past. We're actually emoting based on thoughts from the past. And we're building our businesses based on that. So anything that's not working out in your teaching, in starting to teach, in continuing to teach, in problems arising with personalities in class, in not enough numbers. Often it's not enough numbers. Often ladies call me with Shemi, I just don't know how to get the people in through the door. So how is that going on as a reflection of what's going on in here? The emotion becomes a feeling through the body. You're feeling that feeling. You knee-jerk react to the feeling. And as well, as it's an energy in your body, it's an energy, and energy attracts like energy. Without getting too out there. So you have this pattern of action, and very often inaction, action, stuff you have to do, you should do that you're not doing because you feel blocked to do them. Action in action, and attraction. That's the bit psychology doesn't tend to talk about. But that is creative process layered onto this stuff, which is more leading edge. Thought, emotion, feeling, action in action, attraction. And it's that last piece there that's creating your reality, that's creating your results, that's creating your results. even a lack of a result you want is a result. It's a result of a creative process happening. So what can we do in a 45-minute session? We can niche into it, laser into it. It's like a laser coaching session. And if we uncover one of these modes of creating that you've got going on in that 45 minutes, it can liberate your life. It can give you a key that you put into that door and open it and enter a space you have felt blocked out of entering. That's the deep work. The not so deep work is just, I want to start, I don't know enough, and you're quite right, you probably don't know enough. Not being facetious, there's just a mountain of knowledge to start teaching. If you want to do it right, and if you want to take the responsibility and the honor that's standing in front of a group of women in your community who've come to you based on your branding and marketing and the energy you're putting out there, and based on everything you're putting out there, they have decided that you've got something they want, and they come to you and they're in class and you're standing in front of them. That's a huge honor. It's a huge responsibility. And it's a joy. It's a joy. So with new teachers, it's often a confidence and fear and anxiety, which is important to have. It's important to have that fear and anxiety. It means you care. It means you intrinsically get the magnitude of what's happening. So I honor that, and I love that, and I respect that in pre-teaching and early teaching teachers. And that's what Belly Dancing from the Heart method, which you're studying samples from the parts of its programs, it was all about. It was about empowering you who've heard the call to teach and serve and give and empower you with the knowledge. So the Belly Dancing from the Heart method programs is like the knowledge boomf package. And then with the coaching mentoring, you get into your inner landscape and start mastering your creative process. Start getting a handle on it first, and then put the right stuff out so that you get the right stuff in, and then we hit joy. That's when we hit joy in our teaching. And it's possible, and it's doable, and I've come through a very long journey of, as I say to my students, banging my head on a brick wall until it was bleeding, of things not working. And it wasn't just marketing, it wasn't just internet marketing, it was also a lot of the inner stuff that has had to be cleaned up systematically. Sometimes you have to really look at, especially the stuff that's coming out from the unconscious and then appearing in your conscious scope of vision, and then it's like, okay, that's what's behind all of that. But in my coaching, I don't spend a lot of time on watching it, because whatever you look at, you send more attention to, and it keeps growing. So we see it, and then we direct attention to what we want to grow. And from experiencing what we don't want, we learn what we do want. So that's a really fine way of starting a journey of transformation and of growth in what you're doing. Be it right at the start, what's holding you back. Be it in the middle of your teaching journey, 5 years into it, and you just kind of got enough of the blocks have shown themselves that you're sort of hitting into a sandbank. And it's kind of underneath the surface of the water, and your boat keeps hitting this sandbank. So we need to understand what's going on underneath the surface of the water and navigate your boat around that into the flowing river. Okay, and then there's the 10 years teaching, 20 years teaching, and I've had those beautiful teachers come to me, and it so saddens me to see that they usually in burnout, pre-burnout, in burnout, or post-burnout, but they haven't given up yet. And I admire that you come and you get help, because it's so saddening to me. And I actually said this to a beautiful young lady I spoke to yesterday in one of our coaching sessions. It's so sad to me when people in our industry, they don't know what's going on. They don't understand the nature of this inner outer reality, and they don't understand the kind of the process of being on the threshold of growth. It doesn't look pretty. Being on threshold isn't pretty. It's not pretty. It's often a dark, murky space with fatigue and burnout, and sometimes depression, and sometimes anxiety. And we are not trained in our societies to be so emotionally intelligent and so able and capable to hold emotion, to be able to navigate our way out. It is actually very difficult to do on your own. So if you are in that more advanced stage in your dancing and teaching, and especially your teaching, and you're feeling like, I've been trying for so many years and it's still not working, that doesn't mean anything about you, which your mind loves to make up. It means I'm not. See, it means I'm not good enough. See, it means I'm not perfect. See, it means I don't know enough. See, it means nobody will come because I'm just not worthy. It means nothing about you. It means nothing of that sort. It just means you've had a habitual creative process pattern going on that's creating those end results. That's it. That's it. So, book your sessions if you haven't already. And yeah, I'll speak to you then. I look forward to meeting you then. And if I know you already from my community, I look forward to catching up with you. Okay, have a great day.